not waste your potential. Potential is not what you imagine, it is what you consistently attempt. If you never attempt at maximum level, you never approach maximum capacity, but you respond with comfort. Comfort quiets ambition, but it doesn't remove ambition. Ambition returns stronger, louder. You train, you sweat, you move weight, but do you push your edge? Or do you stay where it feels manageable? You know it, you feel it, you don't say it out loud, but you know it. You are not operating at the level you could, and that awareness follows you everywhere. It follows you when you wake up, it follows you when you train, it follows you when you scroll, it follows when you look at people who are ahead. The truth is not hidden. The truth is ignored. You are not incapable. You are underutilized. There is a difference. Incapable means no ability. Underutilized means unused ability. Unused ability decays. Skill unused weakens. Strength unused shrinks. Discipline unused fades. You are not lacking talent. You are lacking full activation. Right now, your output is below your capacity, and you know it. When you cut intensity slightly, when you choose the easier variation, when you delay the harder task, each time you shrink the version of yourself that could exist. Not dramatically, gradually. And gradual decline is dangerous because it feels harmless. You don't collapse in one day. You reduce by small percentages, 5% less effort, 10% less focus, slightly less aggression, slightly less commitment. Over months, the gap grows. The gap between who you are and who you could be. That gap creates frustration. You don't know why you feel restless. You don't know why you feel dissatisfied. It's not because you are weak. It is because you are aware of unused potential. Unused potential is heavy. It sits in your chest. It whispers during quiet moments. It says, you can do more. Manageable builds maintenance. Maintenance builds stagnation. Stagnation builds regret. Regret builds anger. Anger without action builds bitterness. Bitterness destroys clarity. Clarity is needed for growth. So let's be precise. When you train at 70%, you stay 70%. When you study at partial focus, you retain partial results. When you speak with off conviction, you create off impact. Off effort creates off life. You are not designed for off. You are designed for expansion. But expansion requires friction. Friction requires tolerance for discomfort. Discomfort requires courage. Courage requires decision. Decision requires clarity. So be honest. Are you operating fully, or are you pacing yourself through life? Pacing is strategic in endurance, but pacing your ambition kills momentum. Momentum thrives on push. Push creates acceleration. Acceleration builds separation. Separation builds confidence. Confidence builds dominance. Dominance builds influence. Influence builds opportunity. Opportunity builds wealth. It all starts with activation. Right now, your activation level is low. Not because you cannot, because you chose not to. Choice is powerful. Choice is dangerous. Because every time you choose the easier option, you train your nervous system to avoid stretch. Stretch builds growth. Avoidance builds shrink. Stretch builds growth. Avoiding builds shrinkage. Shrinkage feels safe. But safety without progress becomes prison. You are trapped in your own underperformance, not because someone restricts you, because you restrict yourself. You say you want more, but your actions signal caution. You say you want greatness, but your behavior signals comfort. Comfort is subtle. It doesn't scream, it relaxes you. It convinces you that what you are doing is enough. Enough is the enemy of excellence. Excellence demands intensity. Intensity demands focus. Focus demands elimination of distraction. Distraction steals capacity. Capacity wasted becomes regret. Regret accumulates slowly, and one day you recognition of what you could have been. That is painful. So avoid that painful future. Maximize now. When you train, push the last repetition with intent. Not for ego, for identity. Every difficult rep strengthens self-image. Self-image defines behavior. Behavior defines results. Results define life trajectory. Trajectory compounds. Compounding is invisible early. You are building a trajectory daily. If you underperform daily, you compound mediocrity. If you stretch daily, you compound expansion. Expansion feels uncomfortable, but discomfort is temporary. Regret is permanent. Temporary pain is acceptable. Permanent regret is not. When you choose comfort repeatedly, you normalize underperformance. Underperformance becomes baseline. Baseline becomes limit. Limit becomes story. Story becomes identity. Identity becomes destiny. Break that pattern today. Not next week, not next month. Now. Increase output immediately. Increase intensity immediately. Increase focus immediately. Small increments are fine, but start today. The worst decision is delay. Delay creates distance from potential. Distance widens quickly. You cannot rely on motivation. You cannot rely on inspiration. You must rely on commitment. Commitment means performing at higher standard consistently, not occasionally. Consistency at elevated level transforms identity. Identity shift transforms life. Look at your training honestly. Are you pushing to the edge of your current ability, or are you staying inside familiar territory? Familiar territory feels efficient, but it limits growth. Growth happens at the boundary. Boundary training feels unstable. Instability creates adaptation. Adaptation creates strength. Strength creates confidence. Confidence creates expansion. Expansion creates new identity. You are not tired. You are not under-challenged. Under-challenge reduces drive. Drive increases when stakes increase. Raise stakes, increase difficulty, increase expectation, increase responsibility, increase productivity. When you carry more weight, your body adapts. When you handle more responsibility, your mind adapts. Avoiding responsibility keeps you small. Small responsibility keeps income small. Small output keeps recognition small. Everything scales with demand. Demand more than yourself. No one else will do it for you. No one else feels your potential. Only you know the gap. The gap is your responsibility. Close the gap, one decision at a time. When you wake up, act immediately. When you train, finish fully. When you work, eliminate distractions. When you plan, think bigger. When you hesitate, move anyway. You are not lacking ability. You are lacking full commitment. Full commitment removes excuses. Excuses protect comfort. Expose yourself to higher demand. Higher demand reshapes you. Reshaping feels intense. Intensity builds resilience. Resilience builds capacity. Capacity builds leverage. Leverage builds freedom. Freedom builds options. Options build wealth. Wealth builds security. Security builds influence. Influence builds legacy. It all begins with your mind activation. Activate your mind fully. Stop playing small. Stop conserving effort. Stop reducing intensity. Stop shrinking potential. You can change immediately. One session at higher intensity shifts trajectory. 1 week of full focus shifts momentum. 1 month of elevated standard shifts identity. 1 year of full activation transforms life. But it starts with honesty. You are capable of more. Demand it from yourself. No announcement, no drama, just elevated output daily, relentlessly. Because the worst outcome in life is not failure. The worst outcome is never discovering what you could have been if you had fully activated your potential. Do not waste your potential.